Let's talk about the latest enhancements in Spring Batch 5.2. Query hints in GPA item readers, data classes support in JDBC readers, and the all-important customizable line separators in recursive collection line aggregator. On the surface, this update seems minor, but don't let that fool you. Beneath the polished exterior lies a world of implications you need to understand. Query hint support in GPA item readers. For years, GPA item readers forced you to write custom query providers just to specify query hints. Fetch size, timeouts, basic tuning options were a hassle to configure. Now, with new version, query hints are backed right into their readers and their builders. No more custom query providers, just set the hints and go. Sounds like a massive time saver, right? But here's the catch. Query hints are not a magic wand, they are highly database specific. What works for one database may completely break on another. For example, you configure a fetch size hint. It works beautifully with PostgreSQL. Then you deploy to MySQL and boom, your job is slower than ever. Or worse, your database completely ignores the hint. Now you're debugging something that should have been simple. And let's not forget the dangers of overtuning. Set the wrong timeout, your query fails under heavy load. Set an aggressive fetch size, you overwhelm your database and crash your job. So yes, query hints are convenient, but they are also a double-edged sword. Use them sparingly and test thoroughly. Data class supports in JDBC item readers. Next up, data class support. Finally, JDBC cursor and paging item readers can directly map rows to Java records or Kotlin data classes using DataClassRowMapper. No more workarounds, no more boilerplate. Just call DataRowMapper target type.class in your reader builder and you've done. Simple, right? Well, not so fast. Here's what no one telling you. Data classes are inherently immutable. While this makes them great for modeling data, it introduces a subtle challenge in Spring Batch. Spring Batch assumes your objects are mutable during processing. You read data, process it, and potentially update fields before writing back. But what with classes? Once the object is created, it's final. No updates, no modifications. This forces you to rethink your entire processing pipeline. Instead of modifying objects in place, you'll need to create new instances for every change. That means more memory usage, more garbage collection, and potentially slower performance. So, before you jump on the data class bandwagon, ask yourself, is immutability really worth the trade-offs in your pipeline? And now, the piece, the resistance. A customizable line separator in recursive collection line aggregator. Before version 5.2, this was tied to the system line separator. Want a custom separator? Change a system property. Inconvenient? Sure, but functional. Now Spring Batch gives you a new setter for this property. No more messing with system settings. Just configure the separator directly in your job. But let's take a step back. Why does this even matter? If you're working with plain text files, line separators are critical. Windows uses R, N, Linux uses N. Mac system used R in the distant past. Get this wrong and your file becomes unreadable on certain systems. Worse, if you're processing files from multiple sources with inconsistent separators, your job might fail altogether. The new setter solves this, right? Well, only partially, because now the burden is on you to ensure consistency. The flexibility is nice, but it's also potential landmine. Set the wrong separator and you'll spend hours debugging why your output file is broken. So yes, the feature is useful, but it's not foolproof. Double check your configurations. At first glance, this feature seems like minor quality of life improvements. Query hints, data class support, customizable line separators. But look closer, each one introduces a layer of complexity, a potential pitfall waiting to trip you up. New Spring Batch isn't just about what's new, it's about you being vigilant, being critical, and understanding the tools you are working with. Don't fall into the trap of thinking every new feature is a must-use, because in the world of Spring Batch, simplicity can be deceiving. So ask yourself, do I really need this feature? And if I use it, Am I prepared to handle the consequences? The choice is always yours. Use these features wisely, test thoroughly, and remember, new doesn't always mean better. Let's unravel the latest change in Spring Batch 5.2, job registration improvements. At first glance, this may seem like a backend tweak, a minor quality of life update you might brush off. But what if I told you this change has a much bigger impact than it seems? This isn't just about reducing warnings or cleaning up your logs. This is about how you think about bin life cycles and dependencies in your Spring Batch applications. In version 5.1, Spring Batch introduced an automatic job registration mechanism. It worked like this. You define a job registry bin post-processor bin in your context and boom, your job registry is automatically populated. Sounds convenient, right? Well, it was, until it wasn't. Here's the issue. The job registry bin post-processor depends on job registry bin. That means the job registry bin must already exist when the job registry bin post-processor kicks in. Why is that a problem? Because Spring bin lifecycle is complicated, and having tightly coupled dependencies during the bin initialization phase is a recipe for disaster. In Spring Framework, a recent change altered the log level in bin post-processor checker. Suddenly, all those silent warnings become loud and visible. If you worked with Spring Batch 5.2, you've probably seen them. Job registry bin post-processor depends on job registry. Potential bin lifecycle issues detected. These warnings aren't just annoying, they are a clear sign that something is fundamentally wrong with the design. New Spring Batch fixes this by introducing the job registry smart initialization singleton. Instead of relying on a bin post-processor, job registration now happens during the singleton initialization phase. Here's why it matters. Normal bin lifecycle conflicts. By moving away from the bin post-processor mechanism, Spring Batch eliminates the dependency loop between job registry and job registry bin post-processor. The warnings gone. Second, cleaner logs. The warnings gone. Your logs are now clean, focused and free from unnecessary noise. Third, improved reliability. By decoupling job registration from the bin post-processing phase, you avoid subtle issues that could arise during bin initialization. The deprecation of job registry bin post-processor isn't just a minor change, it's a signal that you need to rethink how you approach bin dependencies in your Spring application. Because if your job registry or any other bin relies too heavily on lifecycle hacks like post-processor, you're setting yourself up for trouble. Sure, smart initialization singleton solves the problem for now, but what about the next lifecycle edge case, the next obscure conflict that only shows up in production? Here is the harsh truth. Spring Batch job registration mechanism is a convenience, not a necessity. If you want true control, true reliability, you need to take matters into your own hands. What you should do next: audit your bin's dependencies. Are there other post-processor lurking in your context? Maybe other bins with hidden lifecycle dependencies? Find them, fix them. Consider manual job registration. Yes, it's more work, but registering your jobs manually gives you full control over the process. No hidden magic, no lifecycle surprises. Keep an eye on deprecations. The job registry bin post-processor is deprecated now, but it's still there. Don't rely on it. Switch to job registry smart initialization singleton as soon as possible. This change is a reminder of the hidden complexities in framework like Spring Batch. The tools are powerful, yes, but they're also fragile. Rely too heavily on the framework's magic, you risk being blindsided by changes like this. So take control, understand what's happening under the hood, and remember, your job isn't just to write code, it's to ensure that code works reliable at scale in the real world. Spring Batch 5.2 gives you better tools, but it's up to you. Use them wisely. Stay informed, stay critical.